Grew up watching Johnny Carson and other shows that were on back in the 60s and 70s that would talk about Los Angeles area, and there's certain words they repeated over and over again, and you just didn't know anything about them unless you were from that area. Some of the main thoroughfares, of course, people know or hear about. They're famous worldwide, even though people don't really know where they're at, but like Sunset Boulevard, everybody's heard of that. Santa Monica Freeway, Wilshire Boulevard, Van Nuys, Burbank, East LA, boroughs in New York City, but they're little townships that are more or less little cities unto themselves, all clustered in the whole big greater Los Angeles area. And some of them you hear about in songs, and some of them you hear about in movies or different other references to them. Of course, there's Hollywood and North Hollywood, and those are actually separate little cities. Hollywood has all the little stars on it. A funny thing happened when I was going to see Hollywood for the first time. I was in downtown area, and I noticed on the one of the little maps I had, I think it's still the Knoxbury Farm map, probably. I used that for a long time. I might even still have that somewhere. But it showed the main roads in and out of Los Angeles, especially if you're going out to the beach areas and stuff. And it looked like the main road that would go to Hollywood was the Hollywood Freeway. I believe that's what it was called. And so it just made sense. I just thought, well, I'll just take the Hollywood Freeway. Of course, I'm walking, and I didn't think it out real good because unlike a lot of your regular highways, on your regular highways there's a little bit of, what do they call that, shoulder, curbage, sideway along the highway. You can walk along, and the freeway has little or none of that, at least in spots. And sure enough, it was coming up on this one area that was kind of like overpasses and stuff with the regular parts of the city down below. And so they just didn't make any side shoulder pull-off lane or anything to it. It's just all like 4 lanes going that way and 4 lanes going this way, and a half sidewalk maybe edging on either side. And I remember it was so narrow you really kind of couldn't stand with your feet side by side walking down it. You'd almost have to, you know, like you kind of normally walk anyway, walk one foot in front of the other. But if you stopped, you're almost better off to turn sideways. And so here I am walking in, and the traffic's terrible. Cars just flying. And that people had warned me about the traffic being bad, and I didn't think about it till I got out there. People in Los Angeles obey the jaywalking laws. They do not walk against the light. They do not walk out in the middle of the road. They go to the corner and cross at the crosswalk when the light turns green for them to walk in their direction. Because even the police that first time warned me and said, people out here will run over you. You don't want to walk out in front of them. And I didn't have any of them that were trying to hit me that I could tell, but they're just zooming by, just right by. Nobody slowing down. Well, I guess on this side one that way. It wasn't much room for error, much margin for error. And then I suddenly noticed, I was walking across this one, like I said, overpass, kind of a bridge area. I noticed that the traffic seemed to be slowing down to nothing. And I couldn't understand it because it was suddenly on my side. Now the other side's still. And I looked back, and there was a couple of police cars, and one of them was holding up traffic, and the other one was pulling up to where I was, and the guy got out of there on the other side, because I was walking along the medium in the middle. He pulled up over onto the far right side and pulled over and got out and hollered at me, "Come over here! Get out! Come over here!" Hollering at me, and I went and ran over to him, and he said, "Are you crazy? I'll throw you off this bridge." He said, "This traffic here will run you over. Won't even think about it." And I said, "Well, I didn't realize it was so narrow. I didn't think about it either." He said, "I'm going to write you a ticket, and I want you to go right up here to this next ramp and get off. And don't get back on here. You know the sign said no pedestrian traffic," which I knew. I knew there was no pedestrian traffic. Sure enough, he wrote me another. That was my second ticket in Los Angeles, traffic violation. Well, maybe it was my third, because I had the drinking on the beach too. Had the drinking on the beach. I think that was near Santa Monica Beach. And then had the jaywalking ticket. I forget the exact order of these, but I think maybe this was the third one. Walking on the freeway. And so I got off. It was funny seeing them stop the traffic and actually get me over to the side and off. I wouldn't have been able to cross the traffic otherwise. I had gone on until I could have found a spot where it was quiet enough I could have walked across it. But they're funny about their traffic in Los Angeles. At least they were at that time. I don't imagine it's changed much. I don't think they build high up there. They just build out. They sprawl. And so the more sprawl there is, the more you need a car. And the more you need a car, the more traffic there is. And there are highways and freeways and whatnot all over the place. Everybody uses a car to get anywhere. And they drive crazy. So they got fairly strict laws about how you're supposed to act around the various highways. But it was kind of funny. He was laughing a little bit at me. He called me an idiot and all that, and told me he was going to throw me off the overpass. But I think he was a little bit kind of amused that someone would have the gumption to try to walk along that narrow little strip. Because I'm serious, it was a little strip of siding like that. It really couldn't hardly walk straight sideways on it. But the weirdest thing happened. In Hollywood itself, all I saw were just more stores. Maybe they were a little more ritzy and whatnot, Saks Fifth Avenue and stuff. But a lot of stores, and so it's kind of glitzy that way, I guess. Taller buildings right there at Hollywood. I think it must have its own little downtown sort of tall building area. And the sidewalks, all of them have stars on them everywhere. I think there's stars that go out from Hollywood proper. There's so many stars now that they're maybe even down into some areas closer to downtown Los Angeles. That day the wind was just real bad, real kind of like gusting and blowing dust and sand and stuff, and irritating. It almost was sort of a sign of, it felt like I was being ushered away, you know, get out, you know, freeway walking, no good to beat, you don't have any money, leave. I didn't spend very long there. I ended up leaving fairly quickly. My adventure in Hollywood was not particularly a rewarding one, at least not for me at that point, at that time. I didn't get discovered. And now this is my big chance. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeVille.